Awesome. So I'm here with John Gabb, and John and I, we actually met at the Grow Your Agency party back in, I think, what was it, October 2019, I think. Is that right, John?
Or about October time, yeah, sometime
October
around there.
2019. Yeah, it was with you, yourself, and Bobby. For those that are in the career agency community, Bobby's pretty much like a legend inside that group. Who else was there? Jordan Kilgore was also there too. Jordan's also a very highly successful YouTube marketer as well. He does YouTube advertising and YouTube content as well. He's really good at that too. So yeah, we all got together the night before the Grow Your Agency party. We all got to know each other quite well, and we also talked a lot about SMMA, social media marketing, all that fun stuff. And John took some time out of his busy schedule to chat for the next 45 minutes because I think it'll be helpful for you guys that are following me and on the channel, and you guys can also check out John too. So yeah, John, if you want to just give a bit of background on yourself, where you came from, whereabouts you're from, how you got into social media marketing, and how you came to today.
All right, man. So first of all, thank you for the invite, Evan. It'd be rude not to join you today. So yeah, my name's John. I am from London, and yeah, my journey's kind of mad. I actually recently put a video on my YouTube channel, the first video I uploaded breaking down my journey. It was like a 3-year journey. I know there's a lot of people out there who kind of go into this space and go, how I made 6 figures in 30 days and all of this stuff, right? So my journey was like 3 years, right, of just trying things. Nothing seemed to work. So I'll cut the long story short, but when I was in college, or I guess in America they call it, it's where you go after high school. So I was like 16 to age 19, and I had 2 choices. It was either go to university or get a job. And I was like, you know what? None of them really sound appealing to me. So I just booked a one-way ticket to Bangkok with my girlfriend, Mia. And we went on this adventure around Southeast Asia. So before that, we saved up, worked in a supermarket for like 7 months it was, saved up a load of money. And we went around Southeast Asia with the idea of blowing up on YouTube and then becoming YouTube famous. You know how it is, man. You have these ideas. And we went out there and we were hustling every day, like filming our journey. And we vlogged every single day, uploaded every single day, like non-stop throughout this whole 6-month journey. And yeah, it didn't work out. So we had to come back to London, basically back to square one. And we thought, all right, what are we going to do now? Right. So we had this amazing plan that came crashing down. So from that journey, we knew we didn't want to get a job and we didn't want to go to university. Those are the 2 things we knew for certain. So we said, what can we do right now to make some money online? All right. So then I'm going to cut this long story short. We were trying so many different ideas from all the way back then, would have been 2016 now, like mid 2016, just trying all these different ideas, right? So from the YouTube, we came back, we continued that a little bit, didn't really work out, tried a bit of e-com, tried a bit of just everything, right? We're just dipping into loads of different ideas, you know, shiny object syndrome. And then we, you know, from our journey, we had really transformed our life. So me personally, I was that guy in school, the worst grades, smoked weed all the time, overweight, didn't really know where I was going, okay? So from there to what I had achieved, you know, I started to turn my life around, started to read books, started to change my habits. We were like, yeah, let's set up this online course, right? And we're going to teach people how to take action. So we set this up, tried to kind of market it through our YouTube channel for like 9 months, right? And this just didn't work out how we planned. And this was the end of 2018. So came to the end of the year and we said to ourselves that we need to make something work, because we had set a goal that year to hit 10K in a month online. So we go to this viewpoint in our local area where you can see all of London. It's a really nice viewpoint. We went there, had a brainstorming session, was like, what we're going to do? And we jumped into e-com. Now, we found this product, ran with it, and it started to make us money, right? So you can see this all in my YouTube video, but I actually started to make money from one of our ventures. Like, this is the first time we started to make money online. So we were getting excited, you know, we were hitting some big number days. And these times we were working at a supermarket. So stupidly enough, at the end of 2018, as it was like December, literally a year ago this month, around December 2018, December the 15th, we quit our jobs, right? And we had revenue coming in from our business. And we thought, yeah, this is it, we've made it. But the product we were selling was a winter product that came crashing down. So we were in this position where we had no job, we had no money coming in and it was slowly running out. So it was either go and get another job, which we didn't want to do, or it was try something else. And this is where we jumped into social media marketing. All right. So from all these skills we had, we had seen people doing online things, seen all these people online sharing their stories. And we thought, why not try and sell our skill to people? So started off going to restaurants, didn't really work out, went to loads of meetings, didn't work out, went to dentists, went to like chiropractors, any local business we thought we could sell our service to. Ended up going to around 10 meetings with 10 no's, all right? And then we took a step back and said, right, let's try and move online. We started reaching out to people we followed who had like YouTube channels with big followings, who clearly didn't know what they were doing in the marketing aspect of it, reached out to them. And then on our first meeting, we got our first deal, got that set up. We done like a revenue deal, percentage from the launch we done with their product. And then from there, we started to kill it. And now our agency's at 6 figures. Our best month, which was in late September, was $15,000. And now we're just scaling it up. So that's a real short backstory. And you can find out more on my YouTube channel, all the ins and outs. But quick backstory there, if that was quick.
No, that was awesome, man. I think that not a lot of people kind of showcase the journey right at the beginning, like showcase what their failures were, what kind of direction that they're going in. Not a lot of people like to reminisce or really be open about that. So I appreciate you being very open, very honest about wanting to go out and become like YouTube famous, become YouTube stars, go be travel vloggers, much like much like a guy who's from my kind of my area, neck of the woods in Canada, named Christian LeBlanc as well.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
Guys like himself, also Cody Binnington as well. He's pretty good too. These guys were pretty big vloggers, and that's also what I really got into, because that was that phase in 2016, 2017 when, excuse me, that vlogging really started to kind of like shoot up, and the algorithm just loved vlogs. So
that's what I mean, man.
Yeah. So you guys kind of saw like an opportunity that might have been a little bit late. So you kind of jumped in there. Then it was much harder than anticipated because now everyone else was starting to do it. So
that's what I mean. And this is kind of funny because, this is where, smart work versus hard work. We uploaded a video every single day, and that took me around 3 to 4 hours to edit. So I remember sometimes waking up on my laptop somewhere in Thailand with the laptop on, I'm thinking, I've still got to edit this fucking video out, and just consistently doing it, right? And this is why I think sometimes hard work isn't the best option. At the end of the day, it's all about working smarter to get what you want,
Exactly. So like one of the things that both of our mentors, Iman Ghazi, one of the things that he mentioned to me when I was at his Meridian Mastermind last year, so around September of 2018, because I asked him this, was I have a bit of older videos on my YouTube channel. It's not necessarily stuff that I really want to promote like now. I did a podcast project after I quit from my corporate media job in Canada. I did a podcast project where I was working literally between like 8 to 16 hours per day trying to do video, script writing, production, editing, do all this sort of stuff with this podcast project, and like find music from local artists and all this sort of stuff. That was taking me 8 to 16 hours a day. And what did it translate into? Well, fucking jack shit. That's what it translated into. So I was working super, super hard on this, and I loved what I was doing. I was putting my computer fucking hated me. It was putting me on the brink and wanting to shut down on me. My $500 Acer laptop, still probably the best laptop I've ever had for what it does, for what like the price point and stuff. But like at the same time, it's one of those things where you are working so hard for something, but you're not reaping any of the benefits from it. And the main lessons that I got, and which I think you can also attest to, John, the main lessons that you got from working all those hours trying to do like editing and upload a video per day and stuff, the main lesson that you learned was like, oh, fuck, like this is not what I want to do. This is also one of the things like, oh, fuck, this is actually super hard work. So now you actually went in and pulled the trigger and actually like dove headfirst into it and tried it out to see if it was for you. Then you're like, maybe I need to do something a bit different. And you can only learn those lessons if you actually did that in the first place. Of course, man. So yeah, that was one of the things that stuck out, and why our stories are very, very familiar as well, about like wanting to all kind of like get big in our own way without a personal brand, without like any like background from anyone, just kind of starting from scratch. It's so hard to start from scratch.
Awesome.
without like an audience or anything and trying to sell a personal brand, because you haven't delivered value yet to anyone. So you have to kind of deliver value in the first place, and then maybe people will follow you on with a personal brand later on. Because that's one of the things with podcasts, especially because that was a podcast project, a video podcast project that I was working on. Was that I didn't even have a personal brand or anyone to really listen to, while the majority of people who start podcasts that are successful, between 90 to 95% of them, like they all had a personal brand previously. Like people followed them onto the podcast. They didn't just listen to them because it was a podcast. They listened to you because they knew who you were before.
Of course. Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting as well, Evan, when you start off and any idea you have, right, you always need to define why you're doing it. I think this is such a key thing. People don't realize, even if it's making money, okay, making money, doing a passion project, like get clear from the beginning where you want to end up, because then you can make the right decisions from now on how you're going to get there. I think it's kind of simple. It's like if you wanted to go, let's say I live in London, if I want to go to central London, if I don't get clear on where I want to end up on my journey, I could end up anywhere, right? But if I say I'm going to go to Big Ben today at this time, chances are I'm going to end up there. And I think get clear on that from the beginning, and then reverse it. So if I was to go back when I was working my arse off doing YouTube videos, my main goal for doing that was to make online money. Now, if I had taken a step back and thought, all right, what's the easiest, simplest way I can make money? There would have been a lot more simpler ways. I would have succeeded quicker, had a lot more of an easier life, and been able to enjoy myself more. So I think get clear on your vision before you begin your journey.
100%. One of my favorite metaphors is that the majority of people are traveling through life as if they're going to the airport. They may have packed their bags to go somewhere, but they don't know where they're going. So they end up going to the airport, and then out of nowhere, they end up going to the middle of buttfuck nowhere, Africa. And they brought stuff to go to Europe or like Northern.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah, that's what most people pack their bags and get ready to go somewhere. And then once they have to make that decision, they're like, oh, I don't have the ticket. And then they end up like somewhere fucking random because they didn't prepare themselves.
Exactly. That you defined it so well.
So I just want to go back a little bit and just talk a little bit about the shiny object syndrome, because it's something that not even just entrepreneurs suffer from. It's something that like everyone kind of suffers from, be it your personality type and so on. So I just want to talk about how you and Mia, who I wish was here, by the way, hopefully she's doing well. I want to know from your guys' perspective how you kind of overcame that shiny object syndrome to start and focus and narrow down for your own business. Because shiny object syndrome can derail anyone. That's probably one of the biggest things that derails people when they're just getting started. The first 5 years is just filled with fucking shiny object syndrome because you don't know what the hell you're doing. You like social media companies, all it is shiny object syndrome. That's what social media is. So it's so hard to like narrow down and focus. So I want to hear about how you and Mia both ended up focusing down from your shiny object syndrome in the past.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the main reason we had shiny object syndrome in the first place was after we came out from traveling, we was working in a supermarket. So we didn't have a ton of money coming in. So all of our decisions we made were out of scarcity and make money quickly. So I think when you have an idea, okay, now whatever that idea is, let's say you want to start up a social media agency, right? You need to know, again, it comes back to the reason why you want to do that. If you want to do it just for money, that's perfectly okay. Then strategize on how you can most efficiently get this set up and running and be committed to making that happen. Because here's the thing, right? Drop shipping is going to work. Social media marketing is going to work. Whatever your business model you've seen that you want to work, it will work. But I think the reason we had shiny object syndrome was because we would test it, not be fully committed to doing it. We wouldn't see immediate results. And then we try the next thing, okay? So I think when you have your idea, know the long-term vision for it. And that is like what I would give any advice. Now, how we overcame this was just through going through it for like 3 years of trying loads of different ideas, failing, having setbacks. So I do think there is that kind of in anybody's journey where they need to go through it to kind of understand it. But define your goal from the beginning and run with it, and don't give up until you do it. I think it was Russell Brunson who said, if you enter a marketplace, don't change until you make $1 million in it. So it's kind of like, there's a lot of people who may be watching this right now who are maybe second thinking their social media marketing agency. But if myself and Evan are succeeding in it, then you can do it as well. But you just need to go through the steps in the process to understand what works, what doesn't work. And if you go off topic or you go off track, you're going to not be able to understand it. And I think another thing is, you know, the grass always looks greener on the other side. So you see an ad with a guy who's running drop shipping ads, how I made 10K in one day, and you think, oh, he only ran one product and made this. Let me just try that. But little do you know that the nitty gritty bits that go into that. But to answer your question, how do we overcome it? We went through it, and now I can tell you, don't go through it.
That's the only thing you can get. You just have to go through it. Like whenever people mention shiny object syndrome, people are like, oh yeah, whatever. But you have to actually like face that adversity first and try to overcome
100%.
it inside your head, because then you're just like, that's the mindset that you're going to have from then on in. It's one of those things that you've learned and you're like, oh, like I'm just going to go straight forward now. I've learned like, oh, hey, maybe I'm not really into this. I need to actually sit down and focus on something.
Exactly, man.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Yeah. Cause I had like funny, you kind of say like you have to actually physically go through the motions and stuff. I just saw a young kid reached out to me. I think it was from New York. 17-year-old kid runs his own social media marketing agency and reached out for an interview. I thought it was really weird that he reached out to me for an interview because I don't have that many subs on like my YouTube page. Like as of right now, I think I have like 600, just over 600 or something like that. This kid reaches out to me. He's like, hey, let's do a collab. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like sure. Like message me on Instagram. I'm much more active than on like YouTube, because sometimes I don't get notifications on YouTube. Like I'm sure you realize like people will comment on it. You don't even get a notification for it,
exactly.
Which is kind of weird, but whatever. That's a YouTube issue. But I told him to message me on Instagram. He messaged me on Instagram. He has like 110K followers. And I was just like, what the heck? Who the heck is this guy? And so he's just like, yeah, I need to interview you. He's like a 17-year-old kid, like super young, super like go-getter, who manages this Instagram page. And yeah, he was a very interesting kid, but he's like very full of energy. I don't know if he suffers from like shiny object syndrome or something, but he wants to release a course. But it was like what you mentioned, you have to actually go through the motion.
Yeah.
He wants to release a social media marketing course and stuff. And I think he's doing some research, like one of the Sam Albans principles of like interviewing 25 to 30 people that are in a similar field as you are. And I think he was kind of, I don't know if he was going through it, because I don't even think he ever done a course before, because that's the point that I'm kind of making. He wanted to make a social media marketing program without ever doing a course. So it's one of those things where I was just kind of thinking like, yeah, but don't you want to like actually like go ahead and like do the work, like go in and see like what your competition is doing kind of thing, and like actually go in there, invest, and like go ahead and like do the work inside of it and see if it could be a benefit to you. He's like, oh no, like YouTube's like perfect. But I'm like as a 17-year-old, like one of those things I'm like, oh, like very, like, I don't want to say he's narrow-minded. Like he's super open-minded to a whole bunch of different things, but he's one of those things where it's just like very, very like narrow-minded, young kid and stuff.
Yeah.
And really just wants to like work super, super hard and like on YouTube and just get his information from YouTube. But I'm like, YouTube's a multi-billion-dollar company that pays people hundreds of millions of dollars a year, addiction analysts, hundreds of millions of dollars a year to keep you on the platform so you don't do anything. Like that's the whole point.
That's it, man.
So I'm like, a course, like a program, if you actually sit through it and like go through it, it's like one at a time. Like all the information's right there so that you don't get distracted and stuff. Like
exactly.
You recommended here what to watch next. Oh, did you check out this Gordon Ramsay video? But hey, I'm gonna put it on.
That will get you, man. That will get you.
That'll get me every time. That fucking gets me. There, I'm like, oh, there goes 46 minutes of my life just watching Gordon Ramsay. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like you have to go through the motions. You have to actually like suffer through shiny object syndrome and see like, 100%. Oh my God, I have to actually like go through the trenches and like go through the motions to actually overcome something. It's the full hero's journey. It's the full circle of kind of going through it. And
I would say also, Evan, I would say one of the best ways you can just, is real simple, get a mentor. And like, I know this is so cliche and people, oh, get a mentor. Yeah. But from when I recently got a mentor and I've actually been paying him, and the things he's taught me would have taken me, you know, I've had like 6 weeks of calls now, and the things he's taught me in 6 weeks would have taken me over a year and a half, I would say, easily, right? So even if, let's say, for example, you don't want to pay for a mentor, just find one person and just absorb all their content, and don't just watch it, but take notes, meditate on it, think about it, apply it, go back to the drawing board, see what worked, what didn't work. And I think so many people get caught up in just like watching a million different people trying to figure out this secret answer when there is no secret answer. Is, you know, you can go onto YouTube right now and there's videos that are like 50 minutes long on how to set up an agency, right? And they will give you everything you need, but people, they don't apply themselves correctly to make it happen.
Oh, I want to watch this other person's opinion on this. I want to see which one is like actually better at the end of the day. And then there you go. There's a whole week just spending like, when you get, all you have to do is take action for 6 to 7 hours. Like just get a domain, get all this sort of stuff, get a few things done, take action for 6 or 7 hours from a 50-minute video. But instead you're going to spend the whole week watching 30 to 50 different people. That's it.
And it's funny, when I started my agency as well, as I just said, I left my job, so I had no money coming in. So my back was against the wall. So I had no other option. I had to just pick up the phone and start. And you'll see this on my YouTube video. I just started picking up the phone and calling restaurants. I didn't have time to analyze it for a week or 2 weeks. I just had to get going. And those first cold calls, I didn't know what I was doing. Those first meetings I went into, I had no idea what I was doing. But from learning that and just applying and going through it, that's the best way to learn. You can't learn by watching a video. You learn by skinning the game and actually doing the work. And I think this is something so many people miss. And I'll get, DMs from people and they say, what do you think is better, this niche or this niche? And I'm thinking, I can't give you an answer to that. You have to just test it out. And
wait. You're like, are you like looking through my DMs as well? Like, what niche is like best for me? Like, what can I can't fucking tell you what niche is best for you, man.
Any niche or what?
Niche. Like, my girlfriend gets really mad at me because she says niche, but I say niche, and she just fucking like.
That's a good debate. The whole video could be debating on this one word, man.
Yeah, exactly. But fuck, man. Like all in like the same things. Like, oh, figure out my life for me. I'm like, I'm not Jesus, dude. I can't figure out your life for you. Like, honestly, you gotta do you.
Bro, I'm telling you. I think you know what it is. Like, one of the things I say, is this is where I'm going to be taking my channel and taking it down is the mindset aspect. Because here's the thing, right? You can, as I said, you can find everything you need within one Google search on how to grow a business, how to do this, how to do that. But people don't do the work. And I used to suffer from this. And people procrastinate, they make excuses as to why they can't start. And the reality of it is, I say there's like 3 things you need, right? One is you need a goal with a plan to make it happen. The second thing is discipline, which is doing what needs to be done, even if you don't feel like it, right? That's a key word, feel. And lastly is build habits that are positive, like waking up on time, doing deep work, and building habits around the actions that get you the result. And it's literally that simple.
It is. That's the biggest thing that I say and what I tell people that has changed my life is I go to bed at the same time. I wake up at the same time. I make my coffee at the same time. I smoke my joint at the same time every morning. I do the same thing, like all systematically. I'm like, I do the things that I need to do in order to get ready for my day. And then I meditate after I smoke my day. I meditate all at the same time. I eat at the same time every single day. And I also exercise at the same time every day. And I do my work from the same time every single day because it's consistency. As soon as if you don't have control of those 3 basic elements of sleep, of eating, and also of exercise, if you don't have control of those 3 elements in your life, then everything is out of whack. Every single thing is out of whack. So as soon as you get that balance going inside of there, then you can go into much deeper focus and much deeper work. It's so much easier once you systemize your day and just go back to basics. People are trying to find the secret answer and be like, oh, the answer's all like it's all out there. So I'm like, no, it's just gotta just narrow down and just keep
what sales script is it? What DM do I send? It's like there is no secret answer. And I think one thing, Tim Grover, who was Michael Jordan's trainer, he says, thinking is a distraction. So if you have to wake up and think about what you need to do, you're literally giving yourself so much brain fog. So like for myself, and I'm sure you can relate to this, my morning routine, I built a habit out of it. So when I wake up, my alarm goes off, don't turn my alarm off. I put a 5-minute timer on, I stretch, and then I have a coffee. And that gets me going, not forcing myself to do it or all these little hacks. It's just real simple basically at the end of the day. And waking up on time is going to allow you to have a more productive day, which is going to get you better results, which is going to get you a client, which is going to get you money, I think you're muted. You're muted, Evan.
Yeah, I'm muted. Sorry, that was my bad. Sorry. I might have to let my friend in, so I might have to pause this. I'm going to pause this real fast. I'll be just back in a second. apologies for that. My bad for stepping away there. But
Good enough,
anyway,
Evan, man.
let's go back on track. So what were we mentioning before?
I think we was at the point where we was talking about just routines
Routines,
and
yeah.
just making
Going
shit
back to
simple.
basics and routines and yeah. So what was kind of one of those elements that's really helped you structure out your day? Because I know that you mentioned something about thoughts before, that it was Michael Jordan's coach that said that a thought is you're already starting your day off wrong as soon as you start thinking. Which
Yeah,
is
man.
very true, because you can get distracted with your mind. As soon as your mind, you start to think in the like first thing in the morning, you're like, oh, what can I do? What can I do? That's why like one of the things I've kind of done, like I don't do it as much as I probably should, but since my day is very systematically routine, I don't really have to do this as much anymore.
Exactly,
But
man.
it's right in a booklet or right in a journal the night before of like the list of stuff that you need to get done the next day, because you thought about it the night before on your downtime. Then all you have
Yeah,
to do is just pick it up in the morning, and it's like you're not even thinking. You're just bam, bam,
exactly, man.
bam, bam, and then you're pretty well done because you're not thinking. You're not
Yeah,
distracted.
that's it, man. So what I do, I take it probably a bit more extreme than most people, but I plan my months out. Then I break that month down into the week. Then I break that week down into the day, and then I break down each day in time frames. So it's almost like I know. Let's say I'll give you a small example. Let's say a lot of people go, oh, I've outreached somebody and it hasn't worked out. Well, I say, how many people have you outreached? And they can't tell me, right? So let's say your goal is to reach out to 100 people this month. Okay, so you can't just,
Oh my god, that's so funny.
bro, you need to
How many
practice.
people you reach out to? Like this is literally my conversations like almost every single day. It's like, hey, I'm having trouble like reaching out for businesses. I'm like, okay, cool. Like how many are you reaching out per day? Like just to get an average of like your week or whatever. Like is it 20 per day, 25, 30? So I can average it out throughout the week. It's like, oh, I called 50 people in 2 days. I'm like, okay, like, all right, like, but
And
you
then you
have to
just
do it
stop.
the same every single day. You got to remain
Yeah,
at 25. It's like, no, I stopped like 2 months ago and I called 50 people. I'm like, well, no
that's what I
shit, you don't
mean, bro.
fucking get anyone.
That's what it is, Evan, man. And I think the reason why people fuck up is because, like I was saying earlier about that example, if you say this, yeah, if I say to you, Evan, I'm coming to Canada, I'll see you there, right? And we just say, oh, we're gonna meet up in Canada. Where would we meet up in Canada? What time? It's so vague, right? It's stupid. Nobody in their right mind would do that. If I was gonna come and meet you in Canada, I'd say, all right, we're gonna meet on this date, at this time, at this location. You know what I mean? You break it down like that. So when I break down my month, I do the same thing. Let's say, for example, I want to bring in a new client. I would say, I'm going to outreach 100 people this month. Then the week goal is 25 people. And then you break down the week goal into the daily goal, however many you can do. Let's say you're doing 5 days a week. You outreach 5 people out of those 5 days. It's that simple. Then you look back on your month and you go, or even your week, and you say, all right, so I reached out to, let's say, 25 people this week, and I got 2 meetings out of that. Okay, cool. Out of those 2 meetings, I didn't close them. Why? And you analyze it and you just break it back down like that. And I think, it's not rocket science. People, it's kind of mind blowing to me, but you just need to break it down into easy steps and then take action on it and analyze what's worked, what hasn't worked, build on the things that worked, fuck off the things that don't work, and go from there,
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically how I structure my weeks out. And I do that for all areas. So my health, my business, my learning, and also my mindset, so meditation goals, learning goals, business goals, all of that stuff, man.
That's awesome. Yeah. What's your personality type?
You know what? I don't even know, man. I think when I done one of these tests, it was like entrepreneur. That was the thing
Entrepreneur.
I've done. Yeah, well, that's the type.
I
I don't know what
recommend, yeah,
personality.
I recommend, I'll put it in the chat real quickly. I think it's called 16personalities.com. I think it's that one. If not, then it's like just the Myers-Briggs. It's one of those things where it's like you kind of like learn a bit more about what your fallbacks are. Cause are you in the consulting accelerator program?
I have not. I've seen it. But I haven't gone through it. I've been watching this
Exactly what you
video.
just mentioned. Everything about systematically breaking things down to smaller. So how many people have you reached out to this week, for example? I want to reach out to 250 businesses. Okay, what do I have to do to reach out to 250
That's it.
businesses? So you have to break it down into every single day, into that small portion. And then out of those 250 businesses, how many of them made a response? So then you break it down into even further, like, okay, so I outreach like 20% response rate, for example. Okay, there's 20% out of the 80 responded to either cold message, a cold call, cold email, and I had an interaction with them. And then you break it down into that 20% even further. Out of that 20%, how many did I set a meeting up with? then maybe
Exactly.
like 20% of that. And then out of that 20% of the people you set a meeting up with, how many did you end up closing? Maybe 10%, 15%, 20%, 50%. You have to systemize every
That's it, man.
single little detail there
It's
so
a
that
numbers game.
you understand where your strengths are. So you understand like, hey, I might be better at closing, or hey, I might be better at cold messaging. Hey, I might be better at closing out or getting someone to like accept a meeting or something. You understand where your strengths are, and then you might even be able to outsource it, or you know how to work on that. So like, hey, maybe I need to get more people in the pipeline with cold messaging, or maybe I need to work on my closing skills, because every time like I'm closing someone, it's only 5% or something like that, while getting a meeting is at 30%. So
That's it, man.
yeah, it's breaking it
The
down.
numbers game as well.
It's all
Once you
numbers.
understand the numbers, then let's say you figure out that if you reach out to 100 people, on average, you're closing 2 clients. You want to get to X amount a month. Let's say you're charging those clients 2.5K. You need to bring on 4 clients. You've closed 2. You just reach out another 100. There we go. And I think one of the big things that so many people miss out on is discipline, right? It's such a simple thing, but one of my mentors, Brandon Carter, for those of you that know him, he's like a 7-figure entrepreneur from America. But, you know, he instilled in me from when I was like 19, right? When I was fucking around in college, smoking weed all the time, not really doing anything, getting overweight and stuff.
Don't. No, it's not the weed, dude.
It's not the weed. It was me. It was me, but
I have it.
all right. Knew you was gonna say something, but either way, I was fucking around, and yeah, he used to put these videos out talking about discipline, right? And it's doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. So I don't feel like picking up the phone today. I'm just gonna watch these YouTube videos. Well, guess what? You've just fucked yourself over because you've made it easier for yourself now to take the easier option out of your life, you know. And then the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Whether it's making the cold call or not doing the cold call, you're picking a choice in those moments. And I think people don't realize that, and then
we all have the power to choose, dude. That's the only thing we have
bro.
in life. The only thing is the power to choose. Have you read Reality Transurfing?
I have not read that book, man.
That was the book that Eman recommended that book to me like a year and a half ago. And he's like, oh yeah, read this book. He read it, I think, when he was like 14 or 15 years old. I listened to it 3 times on my recent trip to Belize. I just came back a few days ago. I listened to it 3 times. The audiobook is around 5.5 hours. I listened to it between like travel portions, like on flights and stuff. Dude, this book is a fucking game changer. 100% game changer for how you think about like how paradigms work and like energy and all this sort of stuff. It really puts you into like a higher being perspective. So you kind of look down at your situation from a higher place, and you kind of like you see like where the energy is: negative energy, positive energy, giving energy, people taking away energy from you and stuff, and what to reflect back. It's a super fascinating read. And I think that's one of the reasons why Eman ended up going to like that exponential level of popularity and as an authority figure because of this book. And that's one of the books that he continues to recommend to this day. A lot of the time, like he's read books and stuff that he's kind of like, oh, thrown away with the times or whatever, but still like this book, Reality Transurfing, is still his top 3 recommended. And I highly recommend anyone that's like watching this video. It's a 5.5 hour audiobook on YouTube. Just look up Reality Transurfing. 5.5 hours of gold. I think it's by Zealand. It's by some guy named Zealand or something like that. I don't really remember his name. But 100% recommended because it's exactly what you just talked about, John. It's all about you have the power to choose to do the work, or you can choose not to do the work. It's totally up to you. Like, it doesn't really matter. Everyone just has a choice to be able to either do it or just don't do it. So that's why I was saying that's the first thought process that I thought of when you mentioned that. Like, we all have the power to choose to go out and do outreach, or we can just choose to be like, whatever. Because some people they don't like to do that. Some people are comfortable with a job, and that's completely cool. That's completely okay. That's just your personality type. You like to, you go out there and it's safe, it's comfortable, you get a paycheck every 2 weeks. But some people like need a bit more in life, and it's a bit riskier. Like, what we do is very risky stuff. Like
100%, man.
We don't do any work. Like, we don't fucking get any money. We don't get paid. Like, we will end up probably on the street starving if we just choose not to do the work. But if I have a job, like, job's pretty easy. Like, all I have to do is show up, follow the rules, and just obey whoever's in charge of me. Like, it's pretty easy and straightforward.
Easy. You get a paycheck guaranteed. You're living life, really.
Exactly. Paycheck's guaranteed unless like something happens to the company or whatever, but that's an outside force that you can't really like do anything about. But like all you have to do is just show up. And that's the same with both our profession and someone with a job. Someone with a job, they show up physically. We have to show up mentally. We have to show up and like actually physically pick things up, because we're not going to be making money unless we're like either talking to people. Because if we don't talk to anyone, if we just stay on our computer all day and just watch YouTube videos all day, you're not going to make any money, because you're not talking to anyone. Because who has money? Other people. People have money.
It's not rocket
Everyone has
science.
money.
People go out there, you know, they look for this secret fucking cold call, this secret, I don't know what they're looking for, but it's like telling you right now, it's not there. You know, you have to, you could sit down with a guy who's making 100,000 a month from his agency, and you could say to him, how do I set up an agency? He'll tell you, and you'll still go home and fuck it up if you don't get your mindset on point. You need to just get it nailed down, get your routines nailed down, your habits, all of that shit, and then just discipline yourself to do the work. And that is all it comes down to. 100%.
I completely agree with you. Just going back to a bit of agency stuff, because we'll do this for like, I don't know if you got another 15 minutes or so. Be down.
Yeah, bro, I've got another 15 minutes for sure.
Be down for the hour. Just about like the agency and stuff. Which niche are you in?
So I work with online fitness info products and online fitness coaches.
Awesome. So what's kind of the process of like the sales process with getting people that are online fitness coaches? Is it one of those things, are you branding it as, because I've dealt with a few people that are in the fitness industry as well. Some people really want like personal branding done for them for growth on their Instagram channel or something along those lines, just to remain top of mind, while other people want to transfer and they want to continue working for the gym that they have and people to come for the gym that they have. Or there's people that want to just go online and be a freelancer and help people online mobilely. Like I have an older client that does that, who just works with people that are just online. I think he has a Facebook group and he just does workouts or whatever with them strictly through that. And then there's the other ones that want to have their personal brand and start their own business. So which ones are you more focused on for the personal training side? Is it the people that just want to work exclusively online, the people that just want branding, or the people that just want to start a business of a gym, etc.?
Yeah, so when I first started off, I was reaching out to people who had an info product. So I would find people with, like, let's say, you know, big online following on YouTube or Instagram. I would reach out to them and say, hey, here's where we can make some more money. And I would pitch them on building out their funnel and also running their Facebook ads. So I started off doing that, and I do still work with a few of those clients. But now, after speaking with one of my guys who's teaching me about this, he was saying, look, just niche down. Because here's the thing, right? If, I don't know, let's say you've probably heard this example before, a brain surgeon or a GP. Who gets paid more money, right? The brain surgeon. So I can go out there and do online fitness info products and online fitness coaches. But if I just go for one, which is online fitness coaches, I'm going to get better understanding their problems, better understanding how to solve that problem. And I'm going to become the go-to guy in that niche. So the compound effect, a year from now, I'm going to be the guy who's getting clients coming to him with ease, right? But yeah, to answer your question, I started off reaching out to people. And the way I do this is kind of different from a lot of people. I think so many people out there teach you cold outreach. And I agree with that. When you're starting off, you have to do this. But let me spin it to you like this. Have you ever bought from somebody and given them a lot of money if you don't know, like, or trust them? And the answer is probably no, unless they kind of really push you into it. So what I would do, I would film a Loom video, and I would just over deliver on so much value for them that they were kind of blown away by what I said to them. So I would film this video for them. I would email them and say, here's a video with some real value, give it a watch. Not really even asking for anything in return. So if they even wanted to, they could go and apply this themselves to their business that day. So obviously they're looking at that and they're like, this guy seems to have something. So got on the phone with them, spoke to them, and we came up with a deal we were both happy with. And every single time I say to them, why did you respond to me? And I'm sure you're getting loads of people responding. Sure enough, they're getting tons of people reaching out to them. But because I went in there, added value, and wasn't like everybody else, I stood out from them. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to reaching out to a potential client, you need to think about it like this, right? You've got to stand out from the rest of the crowd. You need to differentiate yourself in some way, whatever way that is. Then you're going to be able to get people responding to you. People, again, DM me. I sent this script to this email, and I'm thinking, if you sent that to me, I would not respond to it, right? So that's kind of my outlook on outreaching people.
That's awesome. Yeah, because that's how I got a lot of my meetings in the beginning for people that I didn't know personally, because like you mentioned, like people are most likely not going to pay thousands of dollars for or give thousands of dollars to someone if they don't have a fucking idea who they are. Sure, it might solve their problem, but they just don't trust that person yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of the things that I used early on, was to actually do Loom videos just like yourself and just over deliver in value too. And that's what I would use before going into the meeting with someone, so that someone is already
100%.
kind of like sold on like my services and like myself, before the meeting even gets started. And very important note, like for yourself, when you're reaching out to those people cold, I went even a step further as well. When I was just getting started as a social media marketing freelancer, manager, content creator and stuff, was just using my referral system. So just using my friends and my mutual friends. So asking people like, hey, this is what I'm doing now. Let me know if you know someone or know anyone that needs either content or anything kind of along those lines. That's what you
Big
have
one,
to
man.
do when you're just getting started, is
100%, man.
use up all of your like mutual connections and like all of your social network, like the social network, Facebook, like use your social media to go out there and be like, hey, this is kind of what I'm doing. Like people appreciate like you reaching out and just being like, hey, like what's up? Like haven't chatted in a little while. Would love to hear like what you're up to in life and stuff. But one of the reasons why I was reaching out is just like, this is what I do now. And if it's actually a legitimate friend, they'll be like, oh yeah, no, I'll mention like, I'll keep you top of mind. Like, oh, now I know
That's a
what
big
you're
one.
doing. And then so they'll recommend you to other people. Like some people are fucking dickheads, and then you can actually like kind of cater your own like social network, be it on people that like, some people ignored me when I was doing some of those messages. Some people were like, oh, very enthusiastic about it and wanted to help out. Those are the people that you kind of want in your life as well, or the ones that
Evan, you should have just stopped there, man. It wasn't working. Clearly, you should have just stopped reaching
yeah.
out to people.
Yeah, I should have stopped reaching out to people. If they like ignore me or like some weird message, I should have just stopped right there. But there's always people that are out there that like really want to see you do well and want to be a part of your train,
Of
like
course, man.
be on the train and be a part of your journey. While other people, you can just be like, whatever.
Yeah, man.
Like they hopped off the train. Like maybe they'll hop back on later on in life, but for now they're off the train. So I'm like, whatever. I can't good customer service or like good like connections with people if they're not on the train, because I'm on the train. It's my fucking train.
Get off my train. But also, Evan, another point. You know, I see a lot of people talk about this. Should you do free trials at the beginning of your journey? And a lot of people say no. I don't know your opinion on this, but for me personally, I feel like this: if you let's say you're learning a skill, let's say Facebook ads, for example, and you see somebody who can benefit from this, but you have no real experience, it's all kind of theory in your mind, and you don't know how to sell, you're going to have a hard problem closing those people. So when I started off and I went to dentists and gyms and all of these other things, it took me, you know, a good few, I can't remember a specific amount of time, but it took me a while to kind of get my first client. So if I had just said to them, look, I'll work for free, and then I can use it as a testimonial, then when you get actual results and you go to another meeting, you can use that, right? So kind of like ClickFunnels, you know, they have a 2-week free trial. They're one of the biggest companies in this kind of space. Maybe that could work for you. I don't know what your opinion is on that. What's your thoughts on that?
I used to really like free trials in the past, but every single person that I did a free trial with before, I'm currently not working with them.
You don't expect to work with them long term, for sure. They're just going to use you, but you want to use them.
It really depends on like what it's like what you mentioned, like where you are. I'm not a huge proponent of free trials, especially like even if someone has like no experience or anything like that, because these people, they have to have some sort of skin in the game in order to pay you, because once you deliver results for them, they're already used to like using it for free and stuff.
Yep.
ClickFunnels, I think, is a little bit different because that's like an automatic like payment at the end. Like you have to like reset the mindset, because ClickFunnels, they collect the credit card information first thing.
I got what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
They get everything on the first bit, so that you're going to get charged no matter what, like be it if you like it or not like it, but you have to specifically not like it in order to not use the product.
Yeah, for sure.
While someone that you do a free trial for, it's like another thing that they have to think like, oh, do I actually really want to pay for something that like I didn't pay for before?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, sure, like in the beginning, like it's nice to get some testimonials and all that sort of fun stuff. But I think like
once you get that result, don't be doing free trials, because
I like being able to like close out some of the clients and be able to get contractors. If you really want to do the ads, like I highly recommend that like anyone that wants to go into advertising stuff that we do, that they actually like do the work and like know about copywriting, know about content, and know about like targeting and stuff, and understand. Like I spend probably more time with that business with that Facebook AI than like any person. I kind of understand that AI and like how it works a little bit and stuff and how to like manipulate it. Because that's all that we try to do. Like on our monkey brace is just trying to manipulate things and push it to the brink, which is what I really like to do with the AI. But that's one of the things that like someone to overcome like a free trial and stuff like that. I really like using contractors and being able to use the case studies from the contractor
Their
itself
results.
and get their results out so that you can use that for your clients so that they can start paying you right away, because the biggest thing is the cash flow. But you can mix both of like, people are like, oh, I need a contract, so I'm just gonna, no, you need to do a balance of like both reaching out to people and a contractor work. Like reach out during the day and then sharpen your sword at night,
Of course, man.
while getting the contractor stuff all done. Because like if you get a contractor and you're willing to pay them like whatever like the certain amount is for a contractor, just either break even, go maybe a bit at a loss. But the big thing is with your contractor, if you really want to learn about ads and you don't have any results or anything with anyone, that contractor, you can get, as a stipulation, you can get your contractor to teach you about Facebook ads. You can get your contractor to sit down with you for like 30 minutes to an hour a day, because you're literally paying them. So they're going to be very happy about teaching you what they kind of know as well, because now that like you're their guy, because you're paying them. So people are going to be much more willing to like share information and et cetera, and kind of help you with advertising, especially if you can develop a relationship and a bond with that person, because you're giving them money, which is what they want. They're delivering results, and they're also delivering, like they're teaching you how to like run ads as well. That's something that I kind of look at from a different standpoint than like free trials. I think pairing that up instead of free trials, because free trials is really hard. I had someone that called went through on my Cyber Monday deal. They got a free one-on-one AMA session with myself. And one of the things that they did was they're doing a free trial right now, and it's their first time ever doing something, and they're doing it all on their own, and it's not going very well.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because it's scary, like you don't know, and then you kind of screw over this like business person, because this person that you had a relationship with that you closed, they're not going to think as highly of you after, and they might tell a few people. They might know like if
that's the other issue as well. I guess because I was saying that when we were doing it, we had an experience of Facebook ads in the skill, and we just got like 10 no's in all these meetings. And when I look back, knowing what you just said, I probably would have leveraged that. And then tying in with what you said, the next thing is getting good at selling. And selling is one of those things where when you get good at it, you're winning, right? So this is something I didn't learn for a long time very well. And it just kind of boosts your confidence when you believe in what you're selling, you know how to sell it, and you can deliver. That's a big part of it right there. Just having that confidence to enter the meeting, knowing you can get results, knowing you know how to sell. You're halfway there, you know, more than
because like your contractor's a part of your team, especially if you're starting your agency. He's a part of your team, so you are allowed to show case studies from your contractor as supporting evidence for results that results that you've done, because he's an employee of either employer or a contractor of your business. So yeah, that's what I really like to leverage out, and not a whole lot of people kind of talk about that and using that as leverage, because you can kind of like do a whole bunch of stuff all at once. Like you're learning from someone, you're also delivering results for a client. Like be it like you might not make money on that first client or two, like, but you're learning though. It's pretty much like you're getting like it's almost like you're paying for a Facebook ads course, and you're paying about like to learn ads, but you're actually not. You're just kind of you're making sure all the services are paid for. If you have a ClickFunnels subscription or anything kind of like that, you make sure that all that stuff is covered so that you can use those platforms for free and stuff. But the main thing is like being able to learn from a contractor, I think, because I think that developing a relationship with your contractor in that Facebook ad space, it like our industry is only going to be growing from here on in. Like Facebook, like the Facebook platform might not look like what it is like today, but maybe in 5 years from now, it looks completely different. Facebook owns Oculus, so they own like the VR virtual reality stuff, and
they're going to take over the world, man. No doubt.
They're taking over everything. So being able to learn and understand how the business manager works, and like Instagram, like how all that sort of stuff works, and you know how to understand the business manager and like how the AI kind of works. Because people that work at Facebook, they don't even understand how the AI works, either, which is kind of scary. But it's it's just one of those things that people are going to need that skill in the future. So if you have a whole bunch of Facebook ad contractors that you're chill with at the end of the day, and you work together and you build out a relationship, they're going to kind of recommend if they have friends that also do ads and they're inside these
Yep.
communities, like, hey, you need to come work with this guy. Hey, you need to come work with John. You need to come work with Evan. Because he's just like super awesome dude, down to earth and like super relatable and stuff. If you start like growing that sort of network, and then you have a whole team on your side that would love to do ads for you. So
Yeah, they want to do it with you. That's it.
I want to do them with you.
Yeah.
Like I get people reaching out to me like, hey, I want to do like your YouTube thumbnails. Hey, I want to do like some copy for you. I want to do them. Like, okay, cool. Like, first thing I say is like, go through my YouTube videos and go through my free trainings and stuff and see how my style is. If you vibe with my style, then we can set something up and chat. But if you haven't gone through my stuff before, then it's like, well, there's no point. Like,
I know
waste my time if we're not vibing or anything like that. I'm like, all my stuff's online. Have fun, look at it, and if you still want to continue to work with me, awesome, great. If not, then like whatever. Like I don't really waste my time or whatever just trying to like meet with every single. If someone genuinely wants to work with you, John, or if someone genuinely wants to like be around you or associate with you, they will actually go in and physically go.
They'll make it clear from the beginning, man.
Make it very, very clear from the beginning that that's what their intention is and stuff. While other people might be in it for the money because they just want to leech onto you or something.
Man.
Yeah, there is like a lot of like leeches and stuff like that out there that do that parasites and leech. Yeah, that try to do it. I don't know if you have a similar story or something like that for yourself.
I was gonna say it's kind of interesting that when I put out my YouTube video, I got like 1,000 views, right, in pretty quick time, and a load of people started DMing me. And what you notice is most people ask for something from you. It's always like give, right? But you know, when you're going to reach out to somebody, whoever it is, you know, even somebody who you're trying to sell, somebody you want information from, always start with them in mind at the beginning. Because think about it, myself and Evan, we're getting people who are DMing us consistently. Think about people who are at the top of the game. They're getting people reach out to them 6 o'clock. They're getting people reach out to them every single day, right? So just always put the other person's interest before your own. I think that's such a major key, again, that people miss out on.
100%. Yeah, that was something I learned from Russell Brunson, like probably like 3 years ago or something like that. 2 or 3 years ago, was you got to deliver the value first. And I look at his relationship with Tony Robbins as like that key component. Is like it took Russell Brunson 10 years to work with Tony Robbins. 10 fucking years that he was on his list to work with Tony Robbins, but he just remained consistent. He just over delivered on value for 10 years. Yeah, pardon?
He didn't give up, man.
Nope, he didn't. Like, he always do that outreach every single month and try to get in front of them, over deliver on value until one day Tony couldn't say no.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's it.
Yeah, he had to say yes, because he's like, you have to at the end of it. John, I appreciate we've done this for an hour right now. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day, your busy day, you're a busy guy, just to sit down and chat.
No worries, man.
Like social media marketing, talk about mindset and stuff. Yeah, I really enjoyed this conversation. If this is something that you're open to, and people like it down in the comment section, you guys can write down what some of your favorite parts are as well. If you want to do this like more in the future, because if this is very beneficial for like your guys and stuff, and just interviews with other people that are inside the industry. Because I think that this is very helpful, and it's a little bit different than like course material and like, oh, how to like do this.
It's good, man. Back and forth questions is always better.
It's kind of like an open forum of like just figure out like, oh, what's the best way to solve something from people that have different perspectives on things.
Yeah,
and
of course, man.
Have gone through stuff in a bit of a different light. Like, you're in the UK, I'm in Canada, so it's very kind of a little bit similar, but like very, very different like upbringings and stuff like that. As well. So yeah, John, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this.
No worries.
Any plugs, or actually one more question before we get off. If you could be any animal in the world, be it wild or domestic, which animal would you be?
I'll be a cat.
A cat? How come?
I'll just be chilling all day. Chilling, eating.
Observing people and just waiting for someone to die so you can eat them?
That maybe that, but definitely I would just be chilling, eating, and then just going out in the garden and just doing random shit, you know. You have no worries, man. So,
hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I like it. So John, how can people find you? How can people reach out to you, etc. Any social stuff?
Just follow me on Instagram, probably the easiest way. It's John, JonGabb. And yeah, follow me on there, and there'll be a link to my YouTube channel where you can see my whole journey from 0 to 15K in a month. And that's all really, man. But Evan, thank you for your time today. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, let's do this again, man.
Awesome. Cheers, man. Have a great Friday evening.
I will, bro. I don't know what my plans are yet, but I'm going to kick back and enjoy myself.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. We'll chat soon.
Take care, bro. See you later.